Yo, what's up guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review, here to talk about and list 6 more Black Sabbath rarities that you need. This will be from year 1970, so volume 2, I guess we can call it. And if you can hit like and subscribe before we get started, that'd be awesome. Notification bell if you want to know when new stuff is up, as you know. That'd be cool too. All right, thanks. I appreciate everyone that's already subscribed. All right, time to get to it. 6 more rarities. Now, you know, we did 1969. Those kind of almost chose themselves because they were in a lot of cases the only version of those songs that were released, unreleased demos for the most part there. Now 1970 we get into stuff that's been released, and in fact we got multiple versions of these songs, you know, live and demo and so forth. So I had to put my thinking cap on a little bit, but I've actually been mulling this over for like 3 weeks since the '69 show, and it was pretty tough, but it did narrow itself down. I actually bought another CD because I had something burned and I wanted a better copy of it just to reassess, and I'm glad I did because we'll get to that. All right, so let's start out with, I'm going to do this in chronological order. That's what we did with '69. That's just sort of how it worked out with '69, so I think it's a good enough way to do this year, at least anyway. So we'll start in April. So the band, you know, band releases the first album February 13th, and just as a throw, just as a sort of a bonus track, I guess you'd call it, from the vinyl collection set, you get this album called Monomania, which I end up basically just calling this box set Monomania because that's what sort of makes it unique. But this came out 2-3 years ago. You know, all the albums on vinyl, some other swag. I mean, all the tour books from the 70s, I think, which is amazing. I think this was the best $200 I ever spent. I only had a couple of the albums on vinyl in the first place, so you get all 8. You got the programs, like I said, but you also got an album with all of their mono releases from the 70s, all the mono singles, pressed on the one vinyl. I mean, you know, I had spent $15 or $20 on most of these just to have them on 45. And that was just to be in good shape with some clicking, a couple clicks and pops. Now you get everything. So my choice from this is sort of like a bonus track, not the top 6, but the radio promo for the first album. So I guess that probably started airing in February or so. It's just great. It's only a minute long, but just, you know, classic announcer letting you know that these 4 blokes from Aston are coming to, you know, crush your skull, basically, in so many words. It's great. You know, it's part of this, which is so cool. This should be an episode in and of itself, this box set, but anyway, for another day. Bonus track would be the promo for the first album, which is on a 45 single, so that's why it is actually out there. It is somewhat of a rarity. I won't include it, but I'm throwing it out there because it has to be mentioned. All right, so now on to some real full songs. 2 of these songs I'm going to take right off of John Peel's Sunday show. It was a BBC live in studio performance broadcast situation, and we ended up getting them released eventually. Luckily for us. Now, of course, they're out there as bonus tracks on many demos and many other bootlegs. But we get a legit release, actually, from Ozzy in, I think, '95 on the Ozman Cometh. Matter of fact, they're the first 2 songs on here, and it's Black Sabbath, which is a full version with a 3rd verse. When it goes into that little run that usually ends the song, we know, just kind of stops and stutters and goes back into a 3rd verse, which is just great. I don't know if it necessarily makes the song any better, but it does make it sort of a rarity at this point, right? So I'm going to go with that one. That's a great version of it too. Sounds good. I wouldn't say this sounds great, this John Peel broadcast, even cleaned up for this CD release. It's, you know, a little rough sounded, but no big deal. And then right behind it, and this is, like I said, April 26th, or if I haven't mentioned, April 26th, same situation. We also got Walpurgis, the original War Pigs. You know, you got to include that, right? Same exact song as War Pigs, but you do get completely different lyrics. I mean, this is just evil incarnate here. It's like Merciful Fate, you know, 10 years ahead of time. So evil. I can kind of see why they changed the lyrics. I love the original lyrics, but War Pigs is cool too. It's great we have both, basically, is how I feel. The rarities you need so far, Black Sabbath and Walpurgis. And make sure if you go out looking for this, and Ozzy called them basement tapes. There's nothing basement about them. These were the BBC recordings. Basement tapes was just some catchphrase that was getting thrown around in the mid-90s, so Ozzy just went with it here. You need the 2-disc edition of this. There's a single disc edition out there. The 2-disc edition will give you get the first 2 songs that I just mentioned on the single disc. Disc number 2 you'll also get from the same sessions from April 26th. You'll get Behind the Wall of Sleep, that sounds great, and Fairies Wear Boots, that sounds great. So just get the 2 CDs, do yourself a favor. So there's our first 2 choices. Next, we only have to go 3 days later to when the band is in Lausanne, Switzerland. Now this is the one I went and got for this episode. Like I said, I had it ripped off the internet. Just like this, you get the packaging and all. The sound is the same as what's on the internet. Pretty cool looking CD and all. It's not any better than what's on the internet from what I can tell, at least the burn that I had. But this is actually an audience recording. I usually don't even go for these, but this one, and Dumfries from '69, because it's the first show that's been found, gets all the attention. This is a way better concert. Live in Lausanne, I just got this off of Amazon for $25. Top Gear's the label. This is one of these gray market releases out there now. Came in about a week. I'm not sure if it was from the UK. I think it was stateside. This is amazing. The sound is pretty good for an audience recording. It's a little, the recording device is getting a little overwhelmed, but it's not too bad. It almost kind of adds to the heaviness of the sound, because, Iommi's not using like distortion pedals here from what I could tell. It just sounds like the heaviest rock guitar possible, basically, without using all out distortion. So the distorted recording kind of gives it a little boost, in my opinion. But from this one, I'm going to go with, now this is what's so killer about this too, is you get another version of Black Sabbath with the 3rd verse. You get Walpurgis again. And what else should be said too about these versions of Black Sabbath with 3 verses in April? They were already recorded 7 months earlier without a 3rd verse. And here's the band still doing them. I find that really interesting. Took them a while to get out of their original version there. This is just incredible. Everything on here sounds great. You get the full three verse Sabbath. You get the Walpurgis version of War Pigs. You got Sleeping Village is my choice for the 3rd rarity you need, which is only on a couple of recordings, and this is by far the best sounding one out there. And which goes into Warning, which might be my favorite song on the first album. Kind of debatable, right? But this is 32 minutes of the Warning, and it is awesome. Iommi's out of his mind, but you also get a little solo pieces from Geezer a couple times and Ward a couple times. They kind of come in and out of the song. It's just great. I mean, Warning on here has to be number 4. So Live in Lausanne, Switzerland, Rarities number 3 and 4. Next, we're going to go to the Montreux show, which was August 31st, Montreux, Switzerland, back in Switzerland again. Luckily, the band ended up helping us out, making it part of the Paranoid Super Deluxe box set. So we have an official sort of pressing, Montreux. I did keep my original, rip off the internet of this, only because they edited out, I don't know if the band gets introduced or not, but there's definitely, in the very beginning of the original boot, which both sound equally great. That bootleg sounded perfect as it was. So it's nice to have this for the packaging, but the original demo, the original bootleg sounded great too. In the beginning of the show, you hear them hammering on Bill's set. I think I read somewhere that his foot pedal fell apart and they were trying to nail it down to the floor, something or other. But you hear that going on for like a minute. I know it's kind of stupid, but when you're a completist like me, I don't want to get rid of a minute or two of anything. So I kept that around, but nice to have it in this great packaging. I'm going to go with Hand of Doom off of here. Everything on here is really good. NIB's awesome. But I'm going to say, and Fairies Wear Boots is great, but Hand of Doom to me is the standout track here. That'll be rarity number 5 from August 31st. And then last but not least, rounding it all out, from the Brussels show, October 3rd, October of 70. I originally had it on this copy. Now, keep in mind, these are all just coming off the video recording. So this doesn't sound great. This is basically off the video. Come to the Sabbath, this was called. But even when I got the version out of the Paranoid Super Deluxe box set, I kept this around because, you know, these things, they actually hold their value, even though they're lesser quality sound and stuff. Hold on to these things, guys, if you got them. But from the Brussels show, the song Black Sabbath. What a great intro Tony does on this one. It's like a couple minutes long. It's, from what I remember, from what I can tell, the longest intro he ever did to the song. And it's a unique version. You know, I'm sure there's other bootlegs where you might have did the same one, but not going to sound this good. This quality is not perfect, but it's pretty good. And just such an eerie little, you know, finger plucking thing he's doing for the most part. Just really, and the not perfect sound quality just seems to lend to the effect of this song. It's really creepy and eerie. It almost reminds you like something you'd hear in like a Hammer film, as like someone's walking through a catacomb of a castle or something. It's just really, you know, it just puts me in that place. And then to come in with those 3 notes, you know, for Black Sabbath. Perfect. Brussels, Black Sabbath. That's your 6th rarity. Honorable mention to, of course, the radio promo ad for the first album that came out earlier in the year. You can find that on the Monomania box set. And also, I just wanted to mention this, guys. If anyone, you know, I know this is the big news these days, right? Paranoid Super Deluxe. And it's absolutely a mandatory set. But don't overlook the original deluxe version of Paranoid. This is a slipcase deal. You know, these came from the UK. You got the album Paranoid, you got the, you know, quad down to stereo mix from the quad album, which is actually 74. So that'll be in the 74 version of this top 6. But the 3rd disc here was an entire CD of alternate takes. Unfortunately, most of them without any Ozzy on them, no singing on them. But the instrumentals on here, the instrumental versions of these songs, in a lot of cases have different solos on them. They're not just stripped of Ozzy, they're alternate versions of the solo. So like War Pigs especially sounds so cool hearing that, because it's double tracked solos that Iommi's doing just like on the album, but 2 different solos than what were on the album. And there's a couple other instances on here. This is worth getting even if you have this bad boy. So that'll do it for 1970. Top 6 Sabbath rarities. All right, guys, like if you're digging it, and subscribe if you want some more, and of course notification bell if you feel like it. That'll do it for this one, guys. Catch you later.